Hey everybody, it's me, Steve Stee, the CD Junkie, and welcome to this episode of New for You. This is a show where I try to turn you on to some great new music that's coming out now. Now, a lot of people on the VC whom I love, we love to share our favorites from the last 20, 30, 40, 50 years, but I also love to share my joy and passion for new music that's coming out now. I love to share the passion that new music brings. And this series is a little different because I talk a little bit about the album, and then you will hear just a short medley featuring highlights of some of the songs on the album. And I really hope you like what you hear. On this episode of New for You, I'm going to introduce you to a band by the name of the Amplifier Heads. Now, a lot of people are going, the Amplifier Heads? Who are the Amplifier Heads? Basically, the Amplifier Heads is a band led by singer-songwriter Sal Baglio, an immensely talented guy. He's from the Boston area. He's been making records for over 40 years. He started out making albums with his band, the Stompers. Some of you may remember seeing their albums in bins in the 80s. Just absolutely fantastic, just great, straight from the heart rock and roll band. But last year he returned with one of the best albums of the year, with an album called Louda, and this was just this wall of great rock and roll, loud. It was very modern and powerful, yet the heart of 50s and 60s rock and roll was right there, and it was truly amazing. But now Sal and the Amplifier Heads have returned with their second album called Music for Abandoned Amusement Parks. Stylistically, it's still a great guitar pop album, but it's moved forward emotionally. It's stepped away from the heavy-handed sound of Louda, which is just this big, powerful, and this actually gets more emotionally powerful. And while I don't think that Sal intended it to be, this really seems like an album that, this was so joyful, and this is, we're so full of life, and life is wonderful. This seems more like an emotional step forward. He's not hiding behind the big wall of guitars. In fact, he's facing the future. If that album was pre-pandemic, this is most definitely post-pandemic. It has a sadness to it. It has an atmosphere to it, but there's still so much hope. There's melody. It's simple, yet it's very emotional. It's an album that's so easy to connect to that I'm not saying he wrote this for the pandemic, but the mood is absolutely perfect for this time because we're all still lost in this haze of the unknowing. This is just a confident and bold record. I mean, if you're expecting the Ramones wall of guitar sound like this album, this is closer to the Replacements or Springsteen or something, where it's more thoughtful, it's deeper, it's more emotional, it's more powerful, it's more atmospheric. There are a few instrumentals on here which are truly beautiful and touching, but it's not an album that's filled with darkness, because like I said earlier, it's an album that you're going on this journey, but ultimately there's hope. In a way, this is walking away from those joys of summer and the happiness and sunshine and facing a very different future. And that's what makes this album so magnificent. Such a wonderful joy to listen to, even though it's very different. That's the thing about Sal, is every time he puts out an album, he's not just doing the same thing over and over again. He's using his talents to take you on different types of journeys. So Music for Abandoned Amusement Parks is really a triumphant album. It's not as heavy or bright or upbeat as Louda, but it is just as powerful. And this is something new for you by the Amplifier Heads.
Blue jeans and a corduroy jacket. Blue jeans and a corduroy jacket. Summer is gone, September's song. Looking at you through funhouse mirrors. song that was written just for me now feels so out of time. And when the night is still, there inside October's chill, like a ghost song, you'll always come back to me. The earth is dying down, and you take it all and run, reaping what you sow. May you be the first to know.
That's it for this episode of New for You. I hope I turned you on to something new today. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. And until the next time, remember me, I'm Steve Schnee, the CD Junkie.